Welcome to Get Sports Focus, everybody. I got Coach Andrew right here. He's got his Axios gear on. I got the Serra Padres graphic behind me. There's a reason for that because I want to kind of dedicate this talk, at least the first half of it, to talk about the Serra Padres and everything that went on this past season. I don't think we really did a wrap up with the Padres. Didn't even talk about the modern day game yet. The experience of going down to LA for the third time. So that's what this is about. That's why I got it back there. Here we go.
Get Sports Focus is brought to you by Summit Partners, leaders in growth equity investing. Weightsandbars.com. Build your home gym and shop locally from the Bay Area's best fitness equipment experts. Ike's Love and Sandwiches. Championship level sandwiches every single time. South Bay Construction, a reputation built on trust. And by Fuel Good, fueling your success. Conveniently located in Santa Clara off Homestead Road. For more info, go to fuelgoodmealprep.com.
A lot of transferring going on, people. A lot of transferring going on. The high school portal is in full effect.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's hitting both levels now. And I guess a lot of sports, you got trade deadlines in the NBA, you have NCAA portal deadlines closing. Now you have kids trying to hit the deadline for transferring as well. This is the world we live in now, Alf. I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's like a free-for-all.
Well, one thing's for sure. This team behind me right here, they don't deal with none of that stuff. They kind of have their homegrown guys. And we never really got to, I never really got to wrap up the season talking about Serra. This team was incredible all year. And I was at their awards banquet last night, and we showed some videos and all that stuff, which is always cool to watch our work projected in a big screen in front of a large crowd. And it was pretty cool. But man, this is a special team, and it's going to be hard to top. But they deserve all the recognition that came their way. Obviously, you have the best player. I've been talking about Jabari Man as the best player that I've seen. And there's a lot of them on that team. I've been talking about him for the last 3 years since he was a sophomore. And so I think this year, everybody finally got it right. A lot of publications recognize Jabari as the best player. We did it first, right?
We did. And honestly, just touching on that and then having to certainly have to play against him in the All-Star game. It's and having a game plan for that. It's interesting. He is really that big of an impact.
Yeah.
So it's well deserved.
Yeah. I mean, we treated the All-Star game as a game of the week, and so we needed an MVP. And the coaches and the broadcasters are like, number 7. Jabari wore number 7 in the All-Star game, but he's a 5 guy. He wears 5. I'm hoping to see him in a 5 jersey at San Jose State. But it's going to be exciting. So last night, man, we showed about 3 minutes of just Jabari Man highlights. It was crazy. We got the Loonies in the background as the music. So it's uploaded on YouTube. It'll go public, but it was pretty incredible to see all the plays. And this is just his senior year, and these are just the best plays. The guy made every single game. It was like in the double digits as far as tackles. and solos and all that stuff. And that's kind of and he only played half a game. Like a lot of these starters from Serra played half a game the entire season. The only game that they kind of played the full game was I think Folsom, De La Salle, and well, obviously Mater Dei and Valley Christian. And Jabari made that last interception to seal the game. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, man, I mean, Jabari is that guy. And congratulations to you, my man. We got to get you on Get Sports Focus for a uncut interview sometime in the next couple of weeks. Maybe Coach Andrew can join us to kind of like ask questions about your performance against his alma mater. He had some big hits against Midi, man,
He
and
did. He did.
Bellarmine and St. Francis and everywhere. So, but yeah, I think this class was definitely one that will be remembered for a long time. And obviously we covered a lot of the Sarah games. We covered every single Sarah game since these guys were freshmen. So I'm talking about Jabari, Joseph Bay, who's going to San Jose State, Danny Nia, who's going to San Diego State, and Colin Taitua, who is an all-around athlete that could play anywhere and any school, I think. But he's waiting for a shot. So, and there's other talented guys. Melomaki Smith. He was. We also showed what, like 4 minutes worth of highlights, and it I mean, it's worth looking at because it really shows his incredible talent, right? As a QB. You saw the video, right?
I did. Yeah. I think being able to watch it, it was like he's just the decisions that he makes, the way he throws the football. That's just, you can tell he's put time into his craft.
Oh yeah.
Like you can really, really tell. And, that's what separated him. That's how he distanced himself from the pack, especially in the WCAL and in Northern California as like, one of the best quarterbacks. If not for me, like honestly, the best quarterback this past season in Northern California. Shoot,
Yeah.
I'd even say in the state.
I would
It's
I
probably one of
would
the best.
say I would say he is probably like up there in the state. Because if you look at all his throws, and I have all of them, people, and some games we have two angles of it. Um, I really like him in motion and throwing. He's very
Mhm.
accurate when he's in
Very
motion. He's
accurate.
sprinting right or he's sprinting left. Boom! Like he hits his target like crazy. And there's a pass against De La Salle where he threaded that thing like to Jaden Lim. He caught it like a foot off the ground, and it was one of the key plays against De La Salle, by the way. Um, Obviously he's got a big target, Cole Harrison, Keon Loud. He's going to go to Montana State. There's a lot of guys that are going to the next level from this team. And, I think Keon Loud is one of the most talented, like triple threat guy. He can play offense, defense. He could go crazy on special teams. They have a two-time utility player of the year, Jaden Green. I mean, geez, he's another one. I like Jaden as a returner, by the way. I think he could do a lot of damage at the next level as a returner. So if you're a college out there and you're looking for a guy that is reliable when it comes to returning punts and kickoffs, Jaden's your guy. He is worth it, you know. And then the line, man, John Halthouse. He's a big dude. And a lot of these guys are just barely realizing their potential. Obviously they went to Serra. Serra's a great school. They have great coaches. They won a lot of games. 41-4 is the record
This
of this
class,
of
of
this
this
class.
class.
Yes,
That's
41 and
ridiculous.
4. It's definitely a tradition now, And they got some upcoming guys. They got some upcoming guys. people might look at the roster next year and be like, "Oh yeah, this is a down year for Sarah." I don't know. I'm not so sure
Yeah,
about that.
I
Um,
remember they said it when I was in high school too. They were like, I think it was after my freshman year, like, oh, Sarah not gonna be that good because that was when Valley Christian was that team at
that
that
team,
point.
yeah.
They had yeah, they had a good team. They had uh, um, Dante Perez, like that team was yeah. Oh, these are all local guys. You don't know
Yeah.
them, do your history of the WCAL because these are some of the best guys. St. Francis was still good. They had Ryan Perry. Um, they had the one of the younger Talfo brothers over there. Those
Sione?
are
Was
no, I
that
think it
Sione?
was that's Sione. It's Sione's younger brother,
Oh,
youngest
okay.
brother,
Matthew.
Matt. Yeah, it was Matt and Bellarmine also had Amanon, like, he was uh
Uswa?
man, like, but Uswa, yeah. They had Uswa on the team, Kevin Gonzalez. These like this
Oh, I
is
know these
when I
names.
played.
How do I know these names, coach?
These names, don't you?
And how come I don't know your name?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
ah,
the,
it's okay.
the good
No, it's
old
fine.
days,
I mean,
man.
but the good old days, but at that time, Sarah was still like they were still like establishing like their identity at that point, but they were still like beating up everybody. And then ever since then, it's like, and they were getting counted out, but they beat Valley Christian my senior year. They won the league my senior year. And everyone was like, oh, what the heck? They weren't supposed to be that good, and they ended up running it. And then it just kind of just took off from there. At least that for me personally, that's when I saw it like take off.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's
never count
definitely
them out.
never count out the Padres, right? I mean, because they
Mm-mm.
always have they always try to figure a way to get you. Um, but speaking of that, obviously they played state, open division again. They struggled, which is hard, man. It's hard for me to believe to even like think about that game and like Matter Day is really good. I mean, Sarah's really good. We saw them. They dominated the heck out of everybody. They shut out De La Salle early in the season. They handled Folsom well. And I think if they were to play, a lot of those big teams again, they would beat them up even
Dude,
worse.
yeah, they
Like,
do it again.
but the thing, so people ask me, so what happened with Sarah against Matter Day? Matter Day is just really good. And there's really no answer but that. We watched these guys grow up, and I did at least. I know Coach Andrew was keeping up with them, but Sarah is a very, very, very good program. Um, I think they're getting ready. They're trying to reach that next level of greatness, right? To be one of the top teams in the state, like
In the country.
definitely like top five or top three. I think they're on their way there. There's still a lot of work to be done though, because a lot of these other teams, they just operate differently. And you can't really ignore the stuff that happens outside of the football field, right? With all the rules and transferring and people coming and going and all that stuff. That's not really part of the football part. But I know one thing's for sure is they do develop players at Sarah. They develop players because there's a number of guys on this graduating class that I've seen develop over the last 4 years. Cole Harrison's a perfect example of that. You know, I mean, we saw Cole as a freshman and we saw the talent, but it was like 1 out of 5, right? It was like, oh yeah, oh, he's definitely got talent. But second year, third year, And then boom, senior year, best tight end in the state. One of the best tight end in the state. I think he's up there. I know he's up there. He's the definitely best tight end in NorCal. No one is even like close to second. And great attitude going to during the banquet. They actually talked about some of the inside stories or the stories behind the scenes about some of these players. And Cole Harrison's got a really, really good story that the coach talked about. Um, we'll probably do something on Instagram to show that. But basically, Tennessee came out to see Cole, and when they saw him, the main question they asked was, "Can he block?" And so I don't know what game that was when they came out, but the Coach Vinal, I think he talked about he told Cole like, you better block in this game. Like they're watching you. And I guess from that point on, like Cole became like a dominant blocker as a tight end, and that kind of solidified his spot for that offer in Tennessee. So I thought that was a really good story because Cole is a big, tall dude, and you would think that he might be playing basketball or something. But man, he's gonna be a big time tight end over in Tennessee. So I'm happy for him. So they do develop players at Serra, but a lot of these schools from SoCal, I think like like the Mater Dei. Let's just talk about Mater Dei. I think kids go there very good already. Like they already have the physical, the they're already great athletes or really, really good athletes
Right.
because they can go there and they are welcome there,
Mhm.
which is totally fine, right? But
Right.
I heard something about 40 transfers. I don't know where I heard that from, but it sounds about right. Their line is a junior college line. Like these guys could probably play CSM and do well. From what I saw, okay, so I went to cover the game, and just right from the get-go, it's like just looking at them, everyone passes the eye test. It's like D1, especially their line. I was looking at their line, I'm like, holy crap. You know, you can take the all-star team from the WCAL and have them go against Mater Dei. I'm not sure how that would go, but I don't even think it'll be close, right? You're shaking your head.
Well, okay. So because you said that here, I'm gonna make a hot take on this.
Hot take. Here we go. Hot take from Coach Andrew.
Because I think honestly, like at the end of the day, like this is what, especially with like, with what I do in my background, it's like everyone that watched us and watches us most likely watched the Michigan Washington national championship game.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
assuming so.
I know where you're going.
Okay.
I like it. Okay.
If you look at their line from Michigan compared to Washington's, what was the big difference maker? They're big guys, both sides, big, big dudes. But what you can tell on the Michigan side, and Coach Harbaugh, he referenced to it in the post-game interview, was he shouted out the strength and conditioning coach and their strength program for making sure that their guys were specifically ready to fight every game.
Yep.
So you can have everything. It's the tools. It's like what you do with it. Like how do you sharpen? They say iron sharpens iron. That's where I think, and we said it earlier, like Serra is heading in that direction. And I think that's the next step that they have to push. Is that because if you look at Mater Dei, and I'll say this, and I'll tell some people this too, like I was fortunate to have a kid that, has family up here, goes to Mater Dei, was able to train at my facility. And I saw the difference and this is personally, like I got to watch this. The difference in work ethic. This kid he's a freshman, it's an outside linebacker, and yet he's outlifting a college athlete that is visiting and on break at my gym.
Wow. Wow. That's great.
Like, that's insane. And in terms of the technical aspects, I can throw like cues at him about like, fixing something to have him feel like certain movements a little bit differently. And the fact that he can make those changes immediately and it increased his volume of what he was doing in an instant, it just tells you it's not just their physical prowess, it's also their mental state. They understand the objective of what it is that they are doing. There's a purpose. So that's my hot take on it, because that is what, not saying that there's not going to be teams up here, because right now, De La Salle had that, they had that whole plan and layout and blueprint. Serra has that blueprint. Mater Dei and Bosco have that blueprint, right? It's, you have to put it on the kids. Is the way that this, and he was working, goes to, I believe, St. Francis.
Wait, can you repeat that
And
again?
that's the Mater Dei kid, a WC.
Can you repeat that?
His cousin goes to St. Francis. Oh, which part?
Um,
Which part?
about they have that. You talked about De La Salle, Sarah, having that.
Oh, yeah. They have the championship blueprint. They've had it. Everyone like that has been successful in Northern California and in SoCal, they have that championship blueprint, right? It's making sure that the athletes, the kids, they understand that blueprint. That's the big difference maker, because coaches can coach. It's up to the players. Can they play and execute what it is that they're supposed to be doing? That's what it always comes down to.
Yeah. No,
So that's my hot take. And that's my hot take. Like, I watched the Mater Dei Serra game on TV, and that's why I'm comparing it, because that's kind of what I saw. It's Michigan. Like, from what I watched, I don't think they really like stunted a lot. They just straight up just rushed, and they were just bullying Washington just based on speed, power. That's it. There was just no way. And then you look at, and this is no disrespect to Sarah, like, you said that these guys look like college ready players from Mater Dei. At that point, it's just the preparation. They prepared for that moment. Michigan prepared for a national championship. Mater Dei prepares for the state championship. This is where programs, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying it this way, and it's fine because I'm at a stoplight and I'm going to say it. The problem with Northern California football and just programs that are trying to get over the hump is you guys are trying too hard just to look good in week 1 through 5 or to the midseason or to win your league, when that's not the objective. The objective is to win it all. That's the objective. If you don't train with that mindset, you're not going to get there ever. There, that's my hot take. And I stand by that.
So you're basically saying there's necessary loss.
There is, yeah, there's necessary losses. You never, okay. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. You don't lose. If you take losing out of your thought process as a team and as coaches, if you take losing out of it and you teach your athletes, we don't win or lose, we win or we learn. Because you can learn more from a loss. You can lose to a team, but then you fix what you messed up in that loss, and you make it to the shift at the end with no mistakes and it's flawless. Did you really lose? It's not a loss at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You learn.
You learn. No, I like that saying. I remember you said that a lot during the All-Star practices. You were preaching that to your players, which I thought was really cool. But man, I mean, yeah, being physical, the line is where it's at. That's where the magic potion's at. And I think you're
Mm-hmm.
right, 100% right. I was keeping up with the whole Michigan thing and how they transformed themselves into this just ultra physical team, and it showed. I mean, I guess the last two national champions or the past national championship teams, Same exact blueprint, right? Line, dominant, both ways. So I see where I clearly see it. So, but still, man, if you have a collection of guys already ready, like the guy that the kid that you're talking about, if you have like 20 of those enrolling to your school,
Mm-hmm.
you're set.
You, yeah, you should be winning. If you don't know how to win with that, if you're given like, it's like if you're given, what is it when they say you're handed something on a silver platter? If you
Yeah,
don't even know how to, if you don't know how to use it, it's like giving somebody a, I'm trying not to say something controversial. I don't want to get canceled.
no one's gonna cancel you, coach. You're Coach Andrew.
It's like if you're given, if you just inherited like an entire roster of 5-star recruits, right? And you still couldn't do anything with them, then the problem's not with the players, it's with the coaches.
Mm.
So I still think like, so that's the opposite of like what you're saying. Like, yeah, you can have an entire team of like capable, ready players, but if you don't know how to coach that, oh, I'm gonna say another one. Oh my God. I'm unhinged today. There's a
Let yourself
team,
go, coach. Let yourself go.
there's
Fix the
another
hair
team that
first,
we,
though. Fix the hair first.
oh my God. There was another team that we watched, right? Had a lot of players and there was a lot of, a lot of chutzpah behind them.
Hutzpah? What
And
the heck is that?
like a lot of like, yeah, everyone had, there was a lot of like, this team was supposed to take down a team like Sarah.
Okay. I don't know what team you're talking about because I picked Sarah all the way.
Well, I think they were like the one that could have contended with them. At least everybody thought so. The Purple Rain.
Oh, Reardon. Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. And
Eh.
I've said this before, and I had like, I had this talk with somebody about it too, because they know that we cover games like this. It has everything to do with not only like the coaches probably did the greatest that they could. If the team itself can't become cohesive with all that talent, it won't work. It doesn't work. This is why like a program like Sarah, if any program wants to understand how to be successful, and this is why this group is so special because you got to follow them. And I haven't watched them from the beginning, so I actually went back and watched some of the coverage that you had of this group. And it's like that is a very special group because they grew together. It's very difficult if you're just going to try and piecemeal an entire team together with a bunch of talent, unless the coach and the staff can control those personalities and the personalities of the players themselves can actually get along. That's the biggest thing. And this is why like everyone says like, oh, like a program like Sarah, I was like, no, they grew together. That's why it's so special. De La Salle, those guys, like those teams at De La Salle from the past, they grew together. This is why.
So basically, you're saying it takes time. It doesn't
It
happen
takes,
overnight. Because
it doesn't.
I think no, I think yeah, Reardon is I think the way they were put together this past season was pretty cool. They had a lot of
Yeah.
talent. They had all the ingredients, but
Hmm.
they weren't as successful because it doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Will they be very good next year?
I think they
100%.
will be very good next year.
It will be very good next year.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like, I've been waiting to kind of talk about this just because it's like, I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to be I'm trying to be real about it because I got to watch some of the best talent in all of the Bay Area play in this All-Star game. So I have an unbiased opinion about all of this right now,
Yeah.
right? Because you got to watch. Everyone got to watch players go up against like kids from Sarah that would never even be on the same field with them at the end of the day. So That's just where, like, if you took these two all-star teams and kind of put it together, I think then and only then, just because, and I'm just saying it this way, that team might be able to contend with a modern day.
Mm. You think so?
I think so. It would have to be a collective effort from
Wow.
both sides.
Well, let's see. Starting line. If you combine both heroes and 5 stars, or are
Right.
you talking about just one team?
No, you would have to put them all together. So
Put them all
heroes
together.
and
So
five stars.
that's an 80 player roster. Starting
Hmm.
lineup would be, I can see this. I would go center would be Mooley from Tennyson.
Hmm.
Guards, I would go with Theo and El Cerrito. Oh man, I'm blanking out. What I forgot his name. I would go with El Cerrito's guard, and then tackles, I would go Moose
Hmm.
and Sean Lathan.
Yeah.
And you still have really, really solid backups like Monet from Francis Monet from Branham. Um, you know,
Youngblood from
actually,
Freedom.
yes, yes. I think he would be a solid guard as well.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow, that might be a different show now.
We
We
might have to
should. You know what? I do want to dissect the All-Star game and the All-Star experience.
experience.
Got a
We
lot
should.
of practice footage. We have several angles as far as the game. So I think that would be worth doing sometime in the next couple of weeks. Um,
Yeah.
but no, you're right, because when the Sarah guys showed up at the practices, it's like everything kind of got elevated. You could kind of tell, you know.
Oh yeah. And it was fun to have like these interactions with them because even though they weren't on my team, it was funny. The first thing that they said, they're like, you're I forgot who said it. I forgot which one of them said it to me. They're like, because the only one that knew me was Brooks.
Yeah.
But I think it was Jaden or I gotta remember which one it was, but they were like, "You're a lot smaller than I expected," and I was like, "Wow." I was like, "All right." I didn't know how to take that compliment, but and then I know Jaden was like, I think Jaden said to me, he was like, it's nice to finally put like to finally meet me in person. Cole said the same thing. They're like, we finally get to meet you in person. We thought we were
Yeah.
gonna see you at a game eventually. So
Yeah.
it was
Coach
nice
Henry
to finally like.
chickened out going
I
to a
did.
Star game.
No, I did not. It was I am a busy man.
Yeah, he is. He is the strength and conditioning coach for the Bay Area Panthers. He's an Olympic coach. He does all kinds of stuff, people. So as you can see, he's on the go, talking to me right now on this. Um, no, yeah, I'm excited for the WCAL, man. There's gonna be some really, really good competition next year. And with these guys departing, um, it's going to give an opportunity to the young guys to step up. And for the other teams like SI, Reardon, definitely Reardon, St. Francis
Mhm.
is going to be, ooh, when we
St.
do our
Francis is gonna
rankings,
be
man,
good.
I might have to go Franny. I might have to go Franny number one just because of who's coming back there. Um, they're pretty battle tested, I would say, this
Oh
coming
yeah.
season. And they're hungrier than ever, people. So that's going to be an interesting season. Obviously, Sarah's got the harder preseason schedule.
Yeah.
I think that will benefit them not just this coming season, but in the next 2 seasons, to be honest with you. Um, so man, it's but it was a great experience yesterday to attend the Sarah banquet. And,
Hmm.
you know, see all the parents and the players gathered in one place, just chilling, watching videos, accepting awards and all that. Probably the most decorated Sarah senior class ever so far. When it comes to accolades, scholarships, I mean, 10 guys signed or nine, and I think they're gonna get a couple more in February. So it's gonna be a really good story to tell. And I think the way these guys coaches, Coach Walsh and his staff, they're really good at what they do, and I think they figured out the formula. And this coming year is going to be a really, really good test for this coaching staff, because now they have, this is now the next level. I think this is the next level for Serra. This next group coming up, especially the freshmen, current freshmen that are going to be on varsity. It's a very talented group, and I think this is going to be their next level. So who knows? Maybe in the next 2-3 years, Serra will win the Open Division, and they're not. I don't think they're that far off. I know they got shut out twice already, one by Bosca and one by Mater Dei, but I do think that you can't be up there forever,
Mm-mm.
you know. And I think they have a shot in the next 2-3 years to get there and establish the program as the best program in the nation. So hey, that's a, I'm not just saying this because we cover Serra and the WCL. I really do think that they're on their way to the top. De La Salle was up there for the longest time, 153 game winning streak and all that, national championship, mythical national championship, whatever. I see Serra going that direction. And
Oh yeah. It was did you watch the documentary, the When the Game Stands Tall, the one that covered De La
no,
Salle?
I can't find it. Where do you get that?
I think you can watch it on Tubi, on Tubi TV. Here's my
Huh?
advertisement.
If it ain't on
It's called
Netflix
It
or
ain't on
Amazon
Netflix.
Prime, I'm gonna
So
look it
Tubi,
up.
yeah, you should look it up. But there was one thing that they said, like I mean, you can call it Hollywood scripting and writing, but this is what Sarah has done and has replicated in the right kind of replication as to what De La Salle did too. And they said it in the movie was they trust the older guys to bring up the youngest guys.
Yeah, they definitely have that going over there.
So that's the key. So because of how special this group is, the one that this class of 2024, you're right. Everyone underneath them everyone better watch out for everyone that's underneath this group because they learned from this group and
Yeah,
then the next group and then the next group. And then that's why De La Salle was so dominant for so long, and it always starts at the top. Coach Walsh does a really good job of, he always preaches the Ohana part, like, the family aspect of it. And Coach Laudiser was like that too.
yeah,
Big thing, big family. Like they take care of each other. They do this together. And it's like that is why programs like that are so good. They reign for a long time. And yeah, Sarah might be the next one. Probably in the next, honestly, like I'd say probably in the nearer future, they're gonna probably be the number one team in the country, and they will probably be the ones to start. I'm saying it now in what is it? January 12th, 2024. They will probably start this year because I actually believe in that Sarah group as much as really do. They will be the next team to start a streak starting this year.
well,
Saying
they do have a NorCal streak so far.
they're gonna do it all over.
You know, this is crazy. So I've been covering high school sports for a long time, and I've been around teams in chunks of time. So there's a time when I covered a team just like we're doing right now
Hmm.
for 1 to 2 years, and then had to transfer over to another group for a couple of years. and then another group. And one thing I could tell you about Sarah, and I know I've talked about this with parents and stuff. 2019, that class, that football class, 2019, I guess they would be the 2020. That's when COVID happened, right? 2020. The 2019 team only lost 2 games, but the seniors of that class, that was an excellent senior class. And this is the one thing that really stood out to me about the program. No one has anything bad to say about the previous class
Hmm.
of that. It's like the underclassmen, when you do their interview before their upcoming season, they would always refer back to the seniors last year. I thought that was really, really good. And you kind of mentioned it just now. Are you talking about the movie with are you talking about the movie or the documentary? The movie about De La Salle or the documentary?
The movie.
The movie. Okay, okay. Then I've seen it. I've seen it. But I kind of got lost. It was a little slow for me.
It's Hollywood, right?
It's Hollywood, yeah. I don't know. When I saw it, yeah. You know what I think is the best high school football movie of all time? Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
It's
Finally, someone agrees with me.
no, because okay, here's the number one thing that really stood out in that movie.
It's real.
The camera work.
Oh, I was like, the storyline and the drama part, like it's real. It's
No, I
real,
mean
real.
they're if you know the real story of Booby Miles, it's a little bit different from the movie. But
Right.
what happened with Peter Berg, the director, rest in peace. He's one of my favorite directors, sports director. He directed movies, sports movies. The really good thing about that movie is it took you to the action.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like everything was happening naturally. The language, the interaction with players, the edits. If you've seen a lot of the features that I've done in the past, especially the good ones, um, I think a lot about Friday Night Lights, the movie, and the way it was presented. Anyways, I was talking about Sarah, right? The
Right.
seniors, the seniors. So only the Sarah people will probably know this, and only the Sarah people are probably watching this because we're gonna title this the Serra Padre 2023-2024 review. I'm gonna drop some names. Nate Sanchez, Terrence LaVille, Nusi Molani, Jackson Lataimua, just to name a few. Those guys were really, really good leaders. That 2019 team, they played in the state championship against Corona Del Mar and they lost in the final play. One of the best games I've seen. Those guys left a lasting impression. Their legacy is still there. Okay. So COVID happened, season got delayed. The next class only got to play 5 games. Christian Pedersen, Finn Williams, those two guys. There's also Kai. There's a bunch of them from that class that picked it up and they had a 5-0 season. They beat up on St. Francis. That was the biggest that I thought that was the turnaround right there is when they dismissed St. Francis like get out of here kind of a game. They only allowed like and that team was pretty good. They had Andrew Ghetto, they had the running back, but that team that went 5-0, I thought that was a state championship team as well. But they didn't have the state championship, obviously. But again, the leaders of that team left their greatness and led the underclassmen to step up the next year. So after that year, you had Dominic Lampkin, Hassan Mahasin. These are guys that are still playing at the next level. And every year it's been like that since 2019. I would say since 2019 was a turning point for the program. And now I think this is going to be another chapter. Because now that this the Joseph Bay, Jabari Man, Danny Niu, Colin Taitua, and the rest of the guys, this chapter's now closed. Now they're going to open up another one, and it's going to be exciting to watch. So, but really, the way these underclassmen talked about their previous leaders, it's something totally different from what I hear when we interact with other teams and other players. You'll often hear, so you know what I hear often is like, well, last year's team was this, and this year's team, this year we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But obviously, last year's team was a losing team, so obviously they're gonna try to change their mindset and not do what the previous class did, right? So understandable, but now it's established over there. So no pressure, class of 2025. No, they have some leaders coming up. Teddy Chung. Oh my goodness. Teddy Chung. I could see Teddy Chung being an all-around player. Because when he was a freshman, he was an all-around. He could play, he carried the ball, he can play defense. He can do a Jermaine Barrett. He played opposite of Jaden Green. He's gonna have this is gonna be an all-star year for Jermaine. He's probably gonna carry the ball or catch the ball or something. Clay Hillsdale, the next big tight end at Serra, coach. Remember that name, Clay Hinsdale.
Okay.
And then you got some young guys. You got the Hulkamania the Hulkamania is at Serra now. I'm excited to see this quarterback turn it up. And he's got some playmakers. Gio, there's Malachi, Keon Lazilbra, Camille, Coach Walsh's son, Charlie Chewbacca.
Oh man.
So I could see Charlie being the next Jaden Green.
He's quick.
He's shifty as heck. And he carries himself a certain way. He's like a Coach Wallet. Well, he is his son, so it just makes sense. But yeah, that 2027 class, that's a very, very solid class. I started doing this when in 2021, covering freshman games just to see what the future will look like. So this class right here, the 2025 at Serra, they're going to have a lot of fun against the St. Francis Lancers. This next 3 years is going to be Serra St. Francis rivalry all over again. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be great. You got Cahoon brothers, Aaron Knapp, Kingston's coming back. Oh my God. I think Kingston's a game changer. I don't want to talk about rankings yet, but Kingston, man, Kingston, Jackson, Aaron, Perryon, Chase. They have the line too. St. Francis got the line. But we're here to talk about Serra. We're gonna do our St. Francis segment, and we might do a MIDI just for Coach Andrew. But yeah, man, I think we kind of talked a lot. Congratulations to the Serra Padres 2024 class. Definitely a class that we're gonna miss covering. Because if you see this video right here, they didn't waste any time. They gave plenty of highlights. And yeah, I had fun as a camera guy shooting all these highlights. I think I only missed 2 because my camera acted funny. So I probably start a GoFundMe or something for a new camera. Because we can't just use any camera. We got to use the right camera, right?
You got to use the right camera.
You got to use the right camera. So it's coming. It's coming. But yeah, Coach, anything else you want to add about the Serra Padres? The #1 team in NorCal, state runner-up in the Open, 3-time CCS champ, 3-time NorCal champ, 41-4 record for the class of 2024. 12
We're
Division
not,
One recruits,
jeez.
probably signee by February. And that's not including the younger guys with offers. They have the best linemen, I think. I think they have the best lineman, Mani Cahelco.
Freshman, right?
Freshman, yes. I think they do have the best lineman. Um, and this, yeah, he's for a lineman, he's pretty electric. He's got a personality. He's got that big smile on his face, and he's very good. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to. If I'm a parent with a talented kid, I I would definitely look at San Mateo.
I would.
See how much the
I
rent cost over there.
Oh yeah. And I think this is going to be the last, probably one of the last years we're going to say like, you know, runner up. Because if there's going to be anyone that's going to finally take down SoCal and their dominance in football and high school football, it's going to be between Sarah and De La Salle. Those two are probably going to gun after it again next year. I think
So
it's going to be them. They're going to be the final two teams again.
yeah, okay. Since you mentioned that, you know what I think hurt Sarah in the Open Championship is the fact that they had 21 days off.
Yeah.
It's too long. When I saw the schedule, I'm like, wait, so they beat Wilcox I mean, Wilcox was nowhere near Sarah. They beat them in the CCS championship, and then they get the automatic open bid, right? That's 21 days. 21 days without I thought that was too long. I mean, they really should rethink that. I think there should have been a NorCal game between De La Salle and Sarah or De La Salle and Pittsburgh because I think that hurt. That hurt them.
Yeah, it did.
You know, it hurt them as far as the game. Now, what they did in between was actually pretty cool because they had like an inner scrimmage, inner whatever game during the Thanksgiving, which a lot of people haven't seen the highlights for that. Um, but they made the most out of their opportunities, I think. So as a
Mhm.
professional coach, Coach Andrew, he's a professional. What would be your advice? I know you kind of talked about the strength and conditioning stuff, but if you were to give an advice, what would it be to a program like Sarah, based on what you've seen, to get to that next level?
My advice would be to like, is evaluate, really, really evaluate like what went well and build on it, and then evaluate where you can still improve and then prioritize those things. And with the program like Sarah, it would be what are the finer details of things that needs to be looked at in terms of getting over that last bit. It's also changing, like, you might need to take an unconventional approach to how you prepare. You might need to try doing things differently, in terms of your preparation. I think they already made the first step though, which was that preseason. I think that was the first step. I think that's where they probably saw that they needed to beef it up a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we said it earlier when we found out about it. I
Yeah,
think that's I think that's the domino that they needed to fall, is to have that game early.
yeah,
So that's just my advice, because if you look at it, right, the schedule is like, it's a fine detail. That's a detail. So that's the finer details on things.
yeah. This is kind of related, different sport, but it's related.
Hmm.
Before DC took over Gilroy Wrestling, Gilroy was already really, really good. They had like a 16 or 17 year uh, streak of winning CCS.
Right.
Now, when DC took over, maybe the first 2 years it was the same. It was a continuation of the next level. They still had, they had one or two state champs the first 2 years, but I recently went to this dual meet between Layton of Utah, which is number 43 in the nation, and
Hmm.
Gilroy, Gilroy is top 10, I think. I think they're number 10 in the nation. Um,
Hmm.
the one thing Gilroy hasn't done is win a state title. It's always Buchanan or Clovis, Buchanan or Poway, Buchanan. Every single year, those three names are up there. And Gilroy would always land maybe like third. I think I gotta check. I should know this off the top of my head, but they haven't been state champ. What I've noticed they've done this for the last couple of years is they now have a national schedule. They
Right.
compete in tournaments outside of California. So when these guys come back, CCS or play or postseason, it's like, oh, finally we get to see Gilroy at a tournament, and they beat the crap out of everybody.
Right.
It's the competition outside of the state that's made them better.
Hmm.
And now, if you are a wrestler, fifth grade, sixth, seventh, eighth, and you have that talent, you want to go to Gilroy or De La Salle or I don't know, another good team.
St.
But
Francis's wrestling team is really good too.
they have a very big squad. Yes, they're getting there. But you know what I mean? So if you are one of these standout players or athletes, you want to go to that school. If you're a
Hmm.
wrestler and you're one of the best eighth grader, seventh grader, you want to move to Gilroy and establish, your yourself there, parents, so your son can attend or daughter can attend Gilroy.
Right.
And I think
Or
right
at
now
least,
that's what's going with Mater Day and the Trinity League down south. There are teams that if you can't beat them, join them. There are individuals that they think if you can't beat them, join them, or be the one to beat them. So that's kind of like the choice between if you have that athlete, it's like okay, well, you want to go Bosco or you want to go Mater Day. I run
right.
into this kind of thing because of how we run our GSF 7-on-7. I would run into parents with very, very talented, like 14U or 12U, whatever, and they'll ask me questions. I really don't know how to answer it, but you know, there's been a couple of parents in the past that's like, oh, my son got accepted to Mater Day. It's like, that's a high school. It's like, what are you talking about? But they talk about it like it's a college, right? So
No, yeah.
yeah, parents, you have the ability to set up your kids to do well in high school, and if you have the resources, it's only 4 years.
Right. And if you can't, here's my other like take on it because I'm gonna go and I'll tell you why. And I might have to end with this because this is what happens. Is if you can't make that move or you don't want to make that like big life change decision, is there are resources available. Like if you for wrestling, just for argument's sake, if you can't move down to Gilroy, he still has DC Academy. At least wrestle there.
Yeah.
Get absorb everything there and bring it back with you. Or what's the biggest one that a lot of soccer play for play for some of those top club teams. Usually those kids get scouted higher
Mm-hmm.
anyways, even if you can't leave your school. Or and then for like football players, like You know, find the right strength coaches to actually prepare you to play at the next level. Those are the things you got to do. You know, like I'm about to go train a soccer player who plays on the East Coast. Didn't play a game in high school, but played on one of the top club teams in the state. Now playing at a 4-year college. It's
Yeah.
stuff like that. You got to make it work for you.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. So maybe we can expand on that on the next time we talk.
Hmm.
But this has been cool. You know, congratulations again to the Serra Padres. We kind of dedicated this whole thing to the Padres, and I should be releasing this video soon. But we just got to make sure that we don't get flagged by YouTube. But there's
Oh,
still highlights. So, Coach Andrew, I know you gotta go, man. Thank you so much for making the time. And
yeah, we'll talk soon. We have a couple things coming up. Look out for the final. There's going to be a announcement about the day before the last tournament of this month.
yes, January 28th, we are looking to host a boatload of teams for the Silicon Valley Classic. This is going to be the fourth year we're doing this, so I'm looking for. But we have a tournament this Sunday. It's going to be awesome. It's the NorCal Shootout now. No more South Bay Shootout. It's the NorCal Shootout, so it's going to be exciting. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this. Yeah, Coach Andrew,
We'll be back soon. Don't
we'll be
worry.
back. We'll talk soon. Take care. Have fun training, and I'm gonna go get some food.